Hey everyone, welcome back to Read Between the Signs. Today we have a really exciting guest. She's all things holistic health and all things wellness, and we're really excited to be talking about all these different topics with you today. So welcome, Rosie. Tell us about your journey.
Hi there. So my name is Rosie. I've got 2 children. My daughter was 1 this week and my son is going to be 3 in May. And I've always been into fitness. I qualified as a personal trainer when I was 17. And I kind of had a little gap from that in my late teens, early 20s, and was a wild party animal, done everything under the sun. And then I came back to my fitness when I was about 22. And then from there, it's always been my life, like looking after my health, looking after my body. For me, it just makes me feel good. And then I was a sports massage therapist as well throughout that. And then once I had my children, I think when you give birth, you literally have a rebirth. Yeah. You become a new person. So I had a rebirth after my son, and then I had another rebirth after having my daughter. And when I had my son, I think that because I'm like a spiritual person and I trust my intuition, I'd always done that throughout my whole life. But then when you have a child, you're like, oh my God, like the worry and the way you feel for your child is so extreme.
Yeah.
You're like, wow.
Because you haven't just got yourself.
No,
to
like, and then,
anymore.
like, for example, like if you went to the doctors for yourself and they gave you antibiotics, you would think, oh, I'm not going to take them. I'll just see how I am. Whereas if it's your child, you think, oh my God, like, is my child going to die if I don't give them these? Yeah. Like, you get all this fear and then you literally take it to that next level. So I had that with my son, and then it just became my whole life to look after him. And then I had my daughter, and then since having my daughter in this year, I think I've really turned into like an even more of a different person again. But I've done a lot of my own inner work as well through that journey of like my own childhood trauma, and I think I'm just such a different person now. I literally just love looking after my health, but I'm not doing it because I'm not doing it out of fear. I'm doing it because it makes me feel good. Yeah. Like for me, to eat something healthy is how it makes me feel good inside. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like,
definitely.
it's the feel good factor of like eating like broccoli and steak or something. It's like people would think, what? But it's like, it's how it makes you feel inside. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
So yeah, I would definitely say that's my journey in a really small.
Yeah. I know that you mentioned just briefly there about following your intuition and things like that. Within that whole crazy journey that you started with, when did the sort of spiritual side of things start for you, or have you just felt like that your whole life?
Always been spiritual.
Really?
Always. So when I was like, how old was I? 16 or 17. I was on holiday with a boyfriend at the time. And it was about 3 o'clock in the morning actually. And I walked back to my room. We was like sitting playing cards. I was like, oh my God, my granddad's there. And I saw my granddad. And then literally I rang my mum at 3 o'clock in the morning, like sobbing, crying. And I was like, I've just seen granddad in my room on holiday. And then when I got home, my mum was like, my great aunt was in hospital, literally like about to die that week. And we was like, I think my granddad came to tell me something was wrong at home. Yeah. But my mum didn't want to tell me while I was away. Yeah. Because she didn't want to worry me. But I was like, I think that's what it was. And they was like, yeah, I think the same. Wow. Like I've always been that way. Like I've always pushed tested the narrative. I've always been a conspiracy theorist. Yeah. Like when I was about 17 or 18, it was when I worked in Blue Water in Levi's at the time. And literally, I remember one day I went home and I must have sat from Friday through to like the Monday on my YouTube. And I don't know how old I was. It was when YouTube existed. Yeah. And I must have literally watched YouTube videos for 4 days flat about the Illuminati.
Been there, done that.
Literally.
Rabbit hole.
I'm like, anything conspiracy, I believe it all. Anything.
I love to hear it.
Yeah, what was that your first sort of rabbit hole that you sort of went down?
I think so, probably.
So was that sort of the Hollywood conspiracy and things like that? So what's your view on that? Because I mean, my view on that is it's all satanic.
Yeah.
And
I think the same. I mean, it's quite extreme. But when I say to my mum about the whole eating children thing, she's like, so my mum kind of believes half the things I say, but then when I say that, she's like, I don't believe that. That's just absolutely ridiculous.
But I feel like now, like we say it years ago, people would be like,
yeah,
that is too far-fetched.
Yeah.
Now
but
things are coming out.
Look at
slowly.
the P. Diddy thing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
If people said that about, like, Jeffrey Epstein and all of them, it's like, people were covering up for them people
I think
all
as
them
well
years,
what made people realise was look how covered up that Jeffrey Epstein thing was, and that made people think, hold on a minute, like why is those lists not being
With money
released?
comes power.
Exactly,
With money comes
100%.
power.
100%.
What's your view on adrenochrome then?
Oh, well, yeah, I believe all of it basically.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. I don't really remember when it was the first time I found out about that. The first time I thought about it, saw about it, I thought, nah, it can't be true.
Yeah.
And then you just see more and more and you're like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can actually say what that is,
I
but
know.
I'd just say to people,
I don't
look,
even know what it is.
yeah, I'll tell you after, it's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy. Like the things that are covered right in front of our eyes. What made you start sort of questioning things?
I think one of the first things then what started me off was literally the Twin Towers. I think that must have been what started me, and I was like, no, this don't add up.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, when the Twin Towers happened, what year was that?
2011.
2001. Yeah, I was 11.
Yeah, that's
and then
crazy.
obviously once a couple of years had passed, and I was like, no, this don't. And then I think that was what got me down the rabbit hole. And then, but I just literally anything, I just don't believe. But I just think there's so much more going on than what we know.
Yeah, 100%.
There's so much more going, and like I just think people that think, oh, what are you talking about? We die and that's it. I'm like, what? If we die and that's it, how do you think we're even here in the first place?
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
So what's your like view on like when you're ill and going to the doctors?
So yeah, I'd never go to the doctors. My children, I didn't want to register them. It was only like family members that made me feel like I should register them just in case. But my kids have never been to the doctors. I can genuinely say, I mean, touch wood, I don't think my children will ever need to go to the doctors. I mean, unless one of our legs were hanging off. Because when you go to the doctors, you are suppressing illness. So pharmaceuticals in general, obviously, which pays the NHS, is like a multi-billion-pound industry. So at the end of the day, if everyone was like me and my family, they would go bust.
Yeah.
Because if you're healing people, there's no money in it. If you've got high blood pressure and you get put on a blood pressure tablet for life, fantastic. This person's a client for the rest of our life. I think in the UK, because we don't pay for our medical care, we don't realise the extremities of, like, the fact, we don't realise the black and white of how much it's costing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you ever see on Instagram, you'll get like women do an Instagram reel about their medical bill for their birth.
Yeah,
have you ever seen that?
It's crazy.
And like their medical bill will be like £100,000 for their birth,
Yeah.
120 grand because that's a cesarean. But in England, because we're not paying for it, people don't realise that the more you have, the more intervention you have through birth, for example, the more money you're making for the pharmaceutical companies. But because we're not funding it, it's obviously being well, we are paying for it because we pay national insurance out of our wages, and you have to pay that by like law or whatever.
I feel like because we don't pay for it, we don't question it.
Yes,
and that's what the
exactly.
problem is. We just think, say for example, I used to get tonsillitis all the time.
Yeah.
They took my tonsils out
same.
instead of
But this is what I'm saying. So you had tonsillitis, you took your tonsils away. You've suppressed your body. Your body's trying to tell you something's not right with me. My frequency is not sitting right. So you've got a frequency within inside you that is causing you to get tonsillitis. So with homeopathy, it's a frequency medicine. So you would take a frequency medicine to replicate what is going on in your tonsils to aid your body to naturally heal through what is going on with your tonsils. But because you're taking like antibiotics and then removing your tonsils, your body, you've just suppressed your body. You've suppressed it from telling you like, help me, I need help. And you've gone, shush, be quiet, let's take the problem away. You've not taken the problem away. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think there's still a problem then?
I do actually.
My dad
but
actually
you
has
could
Huda.
get other things like, so you might have removed that and then you'll get another symptom come up because you've never treated
Well, my dad
treated
had
it.
his tonsils out, and then he he thought they'd grown back.
Oh yeah, I heard about this. Or Anthony thought his grown back as well. So
but
my
he was
uncle
getting
thought that
because
happened.
tonsillitis form.
They're there for a reason.
They're not there.
Yeah,
but he was still getting it.
Yeah, because you've got your body's crying out, telling you something's wrong.
Yeah.
You're not treating the problem. It's the same with cancer. If you've got breast cancer in your family, and it's like we class it as hereditary, don't we?
Yeah.
That's ancestral trauma. Like the ancestral trauma is going down the line because no one's healing the problem. Right. No one's getting to the root of the problem. Why have we got that problem? Do you see what I'm saying?
If it is a hereditary problem, then how can someone heal themselves for something like breast cancer, for example? Because a lot of people would think, like, when it comes to cancer, like, even in my head sometimes, I do think, how could I heal holistically from something like cancer? Like, that's so scary, and I'd have to be put on chemo straight away and things like that.
Or in terms of prevention.
I mean, with cancer, the reason we can't heal ourselves specifically is because, you know, like when you get like a bacterial infection or a viral infection, your body sees it as an enemy to fight it.
Yeah.
With cancer, your body doesn't see it as anything wrong. Right. So it doesn't realise that it's bad. So it doesn't try to fight it. Okay. So we can't fight it.
Yeah.
But cancer is all solid, negative, dense energy. So you can use things like sound medicine and stuff to shatter it. The same as it's like, so, you know, like everything's vibrating at its own frequency. Cancer is vibrating at a frequency as well. So, for example, you can use like someone, not that I know, but someone I work closely with, they had a client, had breast cancer. They found the frequency of sound and they bought the bowl and they shattered and cured their own breast cancer from the sound.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
Yeah.
I've recently bought loads of sound bowls, like the whole for each chakra.
Yeah, so, I've got a chakra set. It's the best way to start.
I'm going to start doing that, I think, more as well, because even if I don't feel like I don't feel like I should be doing sound healing every time there's something wrong with me. I feel like I should be doing it more just to be on the right vibration, frequency and things like that.
Definitely.
But I think, again, when you're doing that, you're still, even though you're healing the cancer naturally, you're still not getting to the root. So it could come back. So it's digging. I think it goes really deep with cancer specifically to find out what is going on. But for example, like you hear of people that, I can't remember who it was, but I remember someone that their husband died. They'd had neck and shoulder pain for years. Their husband died and it went.
Oh my God.
Because it's like frequencies that are like holding you together, karmic chains. Like everything runs so much deeper than what we even know.
It's like, for example, if you're going somewhere and you feel really, this happens to me all the time, I feel really sick. Even before filming podcasts, I start doing this thing where I feel like I'm going to start heaving. Yeah. It's like your body, like my body's telling me like I'm nervous. I don't even have to know I'm nervous because I'm like, oh my God, I'm heaving.
That's your mind controlling your physical body.
And I know that your gut and anxiety is linked together as well, but I don't think I'm an anxious person. I know there's labels for everything these days, so I don't like to say I've got anxiety.
I'm very
anxious. But do you get a lot of stomach problems then? Or gut issues or feeling sick?
I feel sick a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. But again, it's like, it's healing your own trauma. So with you, you'd want to dig into why you're getting them feelings. So for me, I've done so much inner work and so much deep. Like if I'm having a bad period, like where I do get in my own head, because I've always been quite a like up and down person mentally, I would say. And after having my children, I would say I've shifted it a lot. But for example, like if I get bad periods, like bad weeks where I get like old feelings come up, like with like the eclipses and stuff that have just gone by, I literally had like really bad periods of like old feelings come up. I literally dig and think, why has this message been sent? Like anything that bad comes to me, I'm like, why has this been sent to me? Because it is sent to us by our spirit guides, by everyone, to send us through our journeys, to heal it, to release it. Yeah. So like I have like a lot of like financial blockages and like financial fears that I've been working with and stuff. And it's as soon as I done this like release pattern like a few months ago, literally, it's mad. Like I released it, I've never had the fears ever again.
That's so good. Do you know like your spirit guides and their names and things like that?
I know one of my spirit guides is a best friend of mine that died when I was 12.
Oh.
Yeah, and literally I've had so many things with her. So really mental. So she died when I was, I can't remember if she was in, I don't know if she was in year 7, I was in year 8.
So she was 12 when she
was
passed?
12. She literally got meningitis overnight and literally died the next day. Mental.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah, it was insane.
That's awful.
She's one of my spirit guides. So I've gone shivery. So how mental is this? So when she's always been there through my hard times. It's like, she always pops up and I know she's with me. I've not actually, weirdly, since having Delilah, she's not been there as much. But again, your spirit guides change through your life to guide you through different areas. You'll have one main spirit guide, but then you'll have other ones flitting and coming and going. And I think she's not as much with me now. But yeah, so when I was pregnant with my son, I went for my first scan with him. And I was with my mum, and we were sitting in the little cafe in the hospital. And so I better tell you the backstory. So when we was young, you know, like when you were young, you make dances up and that. Do you remember Five?
Yeah, we used to do that.
Do you remember Five?
No.
The band Five?
No.
I think you were a bit
we
younger
too
than
young?
me. You don't remember Five?
No.
I've never even heard of it.
So they sung us, there's a band called Five, a boy band. And they sang a song that was like, if you got the feeling, jump up to the ceiling. And we used to do dances to it. So literally, the weirdest thing. So we're sitting in the hospital in the cafe, having a coffee. And with my son going down the birth side of it, I obviously, first time round, I'd had the first scan and I'd done like the tests or whatever. So we're sitting waiting for the test results. And I was like, she'd just come to me and I knew she was there. The radio was on. Normal radio, everyday radio. Then all of a sudden, that song come on.
Oh.
Bearing in mind, you don't even know who Five is. It was like normal hits, everyday radio.
Yeah.
That song come on, like na 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 na, and I literally went, "Oh my God, Mum!" I went, "Lucy's here. Listen to the song." It's mental. And then the song finished, and the radio went back to normal.
That's mad.
Yeah. Mental. I've had so many, like, she's literally been there so many times.
I think that this is like the thing, when you work in a spiritual community and things like that, this is what I say to people, like, you have experiences that just, you can't deny that it is there.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, the afterlife is definitely there, and our spiritual side's 100% there. You can deny it all you want, but they are there and you can't deny it.
But there's a book called The Soul's Journey, which one of my best friends, her husband died, and that was why she read that, and then I read it. And literally, it is mental. Like what? So this guy, he hypnotises people and takes them. So instead of doing past life regression, he takes them to their past life and through their death, through the hypnosis, and literally he talks through in the book about what he sees, what we go through in the spirit world.
Oh, I'd love
So, like, you'll be greeted by, like, just, like, a white presence, but you know who it is because of the mind connection.
Wow.
So, you know, like they say, like, you know, if you randomly think of someone,
Yeah.
you know, you'll be doing something and someone pops in your head. It's because they're thinking of you. It's like the
I've heard
mental.
Yeah, that's like
before.
if you talk about someone, the next thing you know, like, you'll see them or...
Yeah, you bump into
But
them
again,
and you
it's
think,
like
what the
law of
hell?
attraction as well and
Yeah.
stuff.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's so mental.
So, law of attraction, I've heard that you manifest a lot.
Yeah.
So is it something that you do daily? Like, what's your sort of routine? Because everyone's got a routine, don't they, with like things like that?
So it depends really, to be honest, of how busy I am with the kids. I mean, I do meditate and do manifestations with like the kids even being up. And when I meditate, I've meditated for so many years, my Kundalini is awake. So my whole body literally vibrates when I meditate. It's mental.
What actually is that, Rosie?
What, your Kundalini?
Yeah.
It's in the base of your spine. It's to do with energies and like connecting to the earth.
Right.
So when I first used to meditate, I'd always sit and then breathe up and down through my chakra line.
Right.
And when I breathe the energy, so I breathe the energy from the earth up through my centre, up through each chakra, open each chakra to my crown and then back down, literally my body vibrates.
Oh my God.
So like my son, he comes over to me and he goes, "Mummy, I'm going to do meditation." And he goes, because obviously, and then he thinks I'm being funny, but that's just what my body does.
Yeah. Is that
But I've
thing
done
that
it
I've
for
seen?
so many years that it's just like within me. It's like as soon as I go into a zone, I can feel, like, even if I've done it now, I can feel within me.
you
like
were
that.
moving.
Yeah, I can feel
Yeah.
the feeling of like the vibrations of the earth within inside me.
I love that. I wish I need to get to that
You
level.
just have to keep practicing. I've done it
Yeah.
literally since I was like early 20s.
I need to start doing that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Imagine you walk in the room and then you just see me sitting there vibrating.
Yeah.
You're gonna think, what are you
I
doing?
think
I
you
mean.
start levitating.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But and then I use like the moon and stuff. But then when I'm doing my manifestations, it's got like more technical now. Like literally, I'm using like herbs and oils and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally everything I've manifested has literally like come through pretty much.
What's been your best or favourite manifestation? if there is?
So my last, I would say, I think it was in about August. I just got back from holiday and then I was about to like go back to work doing like my sports massage and stuff. So I'm still doing a little bit of PT, but because of the healing side of things, I do enjoy doing the sports massage. Like I love being able to help people with their problems. And with my sports massage, I incorporate like energy work as well. But again, it's like with the children and that, it's hard work. And I just thought, I can't bother. So I thought, you know what? I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I need a online business where I can work anywhere from the world, enjoy the children, travel, and it doesn't matter where I am.
Yeah.
And then literally, I don't know how long after it was, I came up with my holistic mum club idea. And then 6 months down the line, I'm literally like working online now, not even really doing my massage.
So what actually is the holistic mum club for anyone who might not know or might not have seen it?
It's an app, like a community website basically, where you can come and join in. I've got fitness classes on there. That's just a little bit of an extra, to be honest. I didn't want to make it too much about the fitness, but again, I think as mums, it's good to look after ourselves. Yeah. And then I've got loads of articles on vaccinations, home remedies, basically, I've got a breastfeeding section, pre-postnatal section, like with articles on vitamin K, folate versus folic acid. What else have I got? I've just got so much on there. Then I host workshops as well. So I've been doing like sound baths and Pilates workshops myself. I've been getting other people in to do workshops. I've been doing interviews with other like-minded mums that are like on that holistic route. It's just a space for people to come to make an informed decision. So nothing's based on my opinion. It's all based on facts. Everything I write is all fact-based. And yeah, it's a space to come and feel understood, because I think a lot of people are waking up, but so many people are still asleep, and you can feel really lonely within your circle of friends if your friends all think you're a nutter.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I noticed as well, when I had my daughter, I was pretty much the only person that actually breastfed.
That's what I mean.
That I knew.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people didn't attempt.
See, I'm quite lucky. I've got two main groups of best friends, and actually both of them have breastfed. Yeah. Which is quite lucky. But then I've got other friends that obviously have like formula fed and stuff. But it is just so bizarre that people like make out like that it's weird to breastfeed.
Yeah,
no. Sorry.
I don't. Yeah.
Boobs are put there to feed children.
Yeah.
I think they're weird.
Why do you think it's more normal that you're giving your baby a cow's baby milk over your own baby milk?
That will drink.
But we're being brainwashed and manipulated into it again. Think about it logically. Why would you be? It's from a cow.
Yeah.
It's from a cow, and you think that it's more weird to give your baby your own milk. That don't even make any sense.
I don't know what would actually make someone think like that. I think if anyone's got an opinion like that, I'd like to know.
People just go with what they're told to do, don't they?
What? So do doctors actually advise to formula
No,
feed?
the doctors don't. But the midwives, to be honest, again, it is potluck of the midwife you get.
Yeah, definitely.
But not many of them are trained.
No, like I've known people where they've wanted to breastfeed and then they've struggled with it.
Yeah, and the midwife goes,
just go,
give them the formula.
Yeah, no.
They don't even help you.
Oh
That's why I actually trained to be a breastwork support counsellor.
See,
we need people like you do things like that.
I made sure, I was like, it's a big thing for me to breastfeed. Like, I don't care if it's hard.
Yeah.
You need
and like,
to support
again,
me
it's
to do
mindset.
it.
I personally, this is going to be an unpopular thing to say, but I don't believe that. So I've read books as well, and even when you speak to lactation consultants, there's like a lactation consultant. I read her book. In her whole career, she'd only ever had one person that couldn't breastfeed. So, and the only people that can't breastfeed is they have a type of breast. They're called tubular breasts. Yeah. They're like, if you look it up on YouTube, they're like little hanging breasts. They've not really got any fatty tissues. They've got no milk ducts, these people. Yeah. So they can't produce milk. Yeah. But when I tell you, there's literally like, it's between 2 and 5% of the population that actually have that.
Really? Like, I said this to you.
And like,
are they like,
she even
is it flat-chested or is it?
No, it's not about being flat.
Really?
You could have milk ducts. It's just, if you look when, like after this, they're called tubular. But other than that, anyone can breastfeed. It's the support you get to do it and how much brain power and the willpower you've got to do it. Like with my daughter, I've had, my son I sailed. With my daughter, she didn't gain weight. Mm-hmm. So it's a whole different subject, but to the point where I actually got referred to the social services. Yeah.
What?
For neglect.
No.
Yeah, because she was underweight, not on the chart.
Well, is that what they do?
They were trying to make me give her formula, and I was like, I'm not giving her formula. Anyway, cut a long story short, she had a tongue tie. For me to do her tongue tie was a really big decision because, again, I don't believe in... I'm like, right, why are we being born with these tongue ties?
Yeah.
But there's links between folic acid and the tongue tie. Now, I never took folic acid for Delilah's pregnancy because of that reason, but I had a bloody Rice Krispie addiction when I was pregnant with her. And Rice Krispies, cereal, they put folic acid in it. So I do still believe it was the folic acid that caused her tongue tie.
What actually is folic acid for anyone who might not know?
Folic acid is a man-made mineral of vitamin that is meant to replicate folate. Folate is a natural mineral that we need. It comes in food, meat, but they artificially make it. Yeah. It's never, anything artificial is never going to be the same as a natural source.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like all the vitamins you get in Holland and Barrett and stuff, they're all like man-made. They actually prohibit your absorption of the real vitamins and the minerals.
Because I feel like I take them and I'm like, I'm going to be all like wellness and like healthy now. And
people don't realise. And also they've got like emulsifiers, anti-caking agents in them. They're all really bad for you. You need a good diet, and you can take natural. Again, on my Holistic Mums Club, I've got a space. It actually says it's called Vitamins Without the... And it's got a list of natural spaces and supplements you can take that are all natural sources of vitamins and minerals.
Because I think that's the thing. Like, there's not enough... Like,
people don't know
research, and there's not enough out there for people to feel like they have an option.
And like, that's why I've created the space so that mums that are like in that transition and they don't know what to do, they can come on the Holistic Mums Club, speak to like-minded mums, see what their experiences are, and then also they can read all of the articles. I've got courses on there, like a breastfeeding course. I've got homeopathy versus pharmaceuticals, like a whole course on it. So you can read it all and choose what is best for you and your family.
Yeah.
Because again, the thing is, like, for me, I can sit here and say my kids will never go to the doctors. But if you don't know what else to do, then of course you're going to do that because you don't want them to be ill. But for me, I know I can heal them myself.
Yeah. I think what it is with me is that, like you said, there's nothing out there like what you do. This is what makes me question, why is there no doctors saying, you know what, like does what Rosie does, for example? Why is there no doctors that suggest those options instead of shoving...
Because they're not allowed to. Legally, they're not allowed.
It's so bad.
They have to. They're only allowed to say what they can say. Like, even a friend of mine I was talking to the other day, she had she went to hospital because she had a bellyache, and then she got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. I have to think about what it was called. Ulcerative colitis, which is like a really bad stomach like disease. I think it's a disease, whatever you call it. And she was like, what are you talking about? I haven't got that. And they was like, yeah, you have. She was literally in bed, she said, with all crystals around her. They thought she was mental. But
that would be me.
She went, so what can I do for my diet to improve this? No, there's nothing you can do. She went, so you're telling me there's nothing I can do? They went, no, you've got to take these tablets. She came away, she was like, absolutely not. Yeah. She's healed herself now by changing her diet, but she's done it on her own. You know, like, we've been brainwashed into thinking like you put your child in a cot and leave them to cry and stuff like that. It's like, that's not our nature. But as mammals, like, do you see like baby animals? They're all cuddled up to their mums. That's how we're meant to be. But what happens with that? Creating mental health problems. What happens with the mental health problems? You get physical problems. What's that? Client for the pharmaceutical company. Like my nan, actually, she went, I'm really worried about you putting the baby in that wrap. I've seen a baby on the news the other day and they've suffocated in it. I thought, oh, that's clever, isn't it? You know why? Because they want the babies separated in the prams. Because in that, we're all waking up and we're all keeping our babies close. We're nurturing them, we're loving them, we're breastfeeding them, we're taking away and we're stripping out all of the mental problems, the mental health problems that have been installed into our generations from our parents who were really asleep. We as a generation are waking up and reversing that. They don't want us doing that. So let's put it on the news and tell everyone that a baby's died, because now we'll scare all the mums and they'll separate them and put them back in the prams again, and they won't put them in the slings where they're meant to be.
So bad. Like, I just think constantly, like even the news, that's a whole thing. I've got a whole opinion on that. Yeah,
anything about the news.
Every time I see it on the TV, or like if we've got the TV on and then the news comes on, I'm like, get that off right now.
Yeah,
get that off.
I'm like, but also it's Instagram. I'm like, even the people that think they're awake, they're resharing like Black Lives Matter and the war. I'm like, now they're talking about Gaza. I'm like, what do you think happened to the other war? What was the last one? Was it
Ukraine?
Ukraine.
Yeah.
What now? No one cares about that. I'm like, literally, the news goes, right, let's get people to talk about this. Everyone's like that. Yeah, we're the puppets. Let's do as we're told. Let's share what we're meant to be sharing.
And then it just goes quiet, even though it's still going on.
Everything that is put on the news is literally put then into social media and people start sharing it.
Well, my best friend is like terrified onto another level. She thinks all the time, she calls me every week, think we're going into World War III. I'm like, please turn that news off, I'm begging you. But she's got really bad anxiety, like seriously.
The news lowers your vibration.
I know, I said to her, you need to turn it off. She had to delete TikTok and everything because her whole feed started to literally become war.
Again, law of attraction. I know obviously that's algorithm based as well, but it is the same as they've set the algorithm to be the same as the law of attraction.
But I said to her, you don't need to worry about war. I said, don't worry, next week Madeleine McCann's going to be back on the news again. So it's another distraction every time.
And again, the news is fear. What does fear do? Lower our vibration. What does a low vibration do? Take away your control, because when you're on a low vibration, your manifestations are so much more limited. When you're on a high vibration, your manifestations open up and they come true. You're more connected to source. That's when things start happening for you.
This is actually really interesting, talking about lower vibrations. I went down a rabbit hole of ChatGPT the other night. I was sitting there asking it loads of questions because I find that I feel more grounded on grass barefoot when I'm in grass, which is like not in parks. When I'm in parks and have my feet out, I don't feel grounded. So I started asking ChatGPT and there was like synthetics on the grass.
It is. And
things
also,
like that.
think like that grass, again, going back to real versus fake, that grass has been artificially put there. Even though it's real turf, it's not the same as like going like, where I live is literally like amazing. I back onto like a massive natural woodland and literally like we go out there all the time and like do earthing and stuff, and it's amazing where I live because it's natural. That's like all man-made.
I do think it's like, as well, it just goes to show like your public parks where people think, oh, I can do some grounding here. You actually can't. You need to find real nature somewhere. And I started asking it things like, the ChatGPT started telling me, when you're grounded, you become more aware, you become a higher vibration, and these like higher people, whatever,
they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to know.
Yeah. So the fact that it started telling me, I was like, oh my God. I started sending my boyfriend all the screenshots at like 12 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh my God, look what I've just discovered with the ChatGPT. But it just goes to show these things, why don't they want us to wake up? It just shows that people need to do their own research into things, that these things are,
I know,
you stop believing things that are put in your face. It's put in your face for a reason.
But I'm so intrigued to see where we're going to go, because I do think like with COVID, that was like, well, when you look into astrology and where we are, so in 2020, we came into the age of Aquarius, and that is the shift in a massive vibrational shift where we're raising to a higher vibration. So COVID was put there to raise awareness and shift the vibration. But I think 5 years down the line, I mean, I remember at the beginning of COVID, I was going, nah, this is mental. Why is everyone believing this? This is absolutely insane. Me and a friend, he literally used to message me and we'd be sharing all this stuff like, nah, this is nuts. Why is everyone believing this stuff? I mean, when we were about 20, I was about 22, me and two of my boy mates, we used to go and sit in Welling in Tesco. We used to do calisthenics at the bars in, like, do you know where Queen Elizabeth's Hospital is?
Whereabouts is it?
It's like South East London. London, no. So we used to go there, then we'd go and get a coffee and we'd sit there and be like, there's GMOs in the food, they're trying to kill us, this, that and the other. This is literally when I was about 22. So
this sounds like a conversation with me and my boyfriend.
This is like 15 years ago, do you know what I mean? And we're like, no, this is mental. Then when COVID happened, literally, me and my friend Jay were literally trying to share this stuff to the world. He's going, no, why is everyone believing this? This is mental. People thought we were nuts at the beginning.
I would get into arguments with my own family because when they talk about the vaccine, I'd say, no, I don't want to get it. They'd be like, right, well, you can't come in the house.
I know.
I'd be like, see you later, I ain't coming in.
I thought it was all right to have a choice.
Yeah, I know. And then it kind of went a bit further along and more people started waking up. And then by the time I think the vaccines got there, I think a lot of people had woken up, so then they didn't have them. But like I'm saying, so we're 5 years down the line now. I think where we are from there. So I think by Agenda 2030, which I don't think is going to happen, obviously if no one knows what Agenda 2030 is, then you can look that up. But I'm just intrigued to see where we are going to be, because I think what's going to happen, like I think, are the people that are still really asleep, are they going to just be left behind?
I don't think so. I think there's something's going to happen, and there's going to be a massive awakening, and I feel a lot of people are going to wake up. I feel like having conversations like this as well does really help people, because
100%.
what we're literally doing is we're not saying things which are conspiracy, we're saying things which are facts. So like the word conspiracy sometimes I don't even like, because we're literally just talking facts. Like the things that we've said today, you can go and look that up and do your own research, and what we say, don't get me wrong, it probably might not come up on a straight Google search, because search engines...
Google's owned and controlled by the government and the pharmaceuticals and all the people at the top.
Exactly, but I recommend a good search engine. I usually use DuckDuckGo.
Yes,
so if anyone wants to use that,
if
anyone wants to use that.
It's not a new thing though.
No, I know.
Like years ago, they talk about witchcraft, and people would be burned.
Yeah, but look, that's what I say to everyone. I'm like, look at witchcraft.
We would have been burnt alive years ago.
Witches were burnt at the stake. And yet when you go, like about witches and magic, people think it's like mental, as if it's fake. I'm like,
it's been happening.
Well, no,
since
think
the
about
beginning.
it. It is actually a thing.
Yeah.
It is actually a thing. And like witches were actually midwives. They were healers. Yeah, most like all midwives in them days that you would like call. So say, for example, like someone like me back in those days in like the 1600s, which was when that all started, the witch hunts, I would have probably been someone that would have been a go-to to go, oh, quick, call them, because I would have been there like with the herbs and with the remedies and helping people give birth because it's within me. Like a lot of what I do is, don't get me wrong, everything I do is fact-based. So I do so much research, but also everything I do is from my gut. Like even like my birth, from my first birth to my second, everything I've done is been guided by my gut. So with my son, I really didn't want to have him in a hospital, but because my family were a bit nervous and stuff, I was like, okay, I'm going to give birth in the hospital for you guys. I really don't want to, but I'm going to do it. So anyway, I do think it stalled my birth because of the fear and the anxiety I had throughout. When you're in labour, we need oxytocin. That is our hormone. It's our love hormone. Oxytocin releases, it creates contractions in the womb, and then the contractions push the baby out. When we are having a lot of fear, we release cortisol. Cortisol shuts off oxytocin. This is why so many people have problems giving birth. When you give birth, you should be in an environment you're comfortable having sex in. So there's a video on YouTube, and it's quite funny actually. There's a couple, they're like really being intimate, and then there's a midwife keeps coming in and going, how are you getting on there? How are you getting on there? And it's like, and it's really off, like turns you off sort of thing.
Yeah, because it is an intimate moment,
yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
intimate. Like, would you want to do, it's like me, would I want to sit here now doing a poo with you guys or watching me? I'd feel really weird. Do you know what I mean? But we've been manipulated into thinking it's normal to give birth like that. But it's not. No. So our hormones don't operate the way they're naturally meant to. So with my son, it stalled me. So I went into labour on the Saturday, got to the Monday, and I was like, right, it's starting to ramp up a bit now. So I went to the hospital because, again, I was thinking I didn't want to miss the moment. I either wanted to be there or not. So I went in. I thought I didn't want to be checked because, again, when you're checked, just one check increases your risk of infection by 40%. Again, they don't tell you that. 40% increase in infection risk.
Wow. So
I didn't want to be checked, but I thought I'm going to be checked. Again, it's all my own decision. I know them risks, but I'm choosing to be checked the once because if I'm not that far, I'm going home. So they checked me 1 centimetre. I was like, oh, my God, it's actually mental. I was like, right, OK, I'm going home. They done my blood pressure, which, again, now, second time round, you're stronger. I would have said, don't even want the blood pressure doing. But, again, your family, they're all scared over the top of you. When you're in labour, you're vulnerable anyway. So I was like, right, do it. They went, no, your blood pressure's too high. You can't go home. I went, OK, well, I'm going home anyway. Got to literally so many hours later. So they took me then because there was other people in labour and I'm going, no, you're not doing any of that to me. You're not doing this. So they were like, right, let's get her out of here so that no one else can hear. They put me in a room. I was actually with my best friend at the time because my mum was in the car, which was actually really handy because, again, it's what's meant to be. If my mum had been in that room, I would have been in a C-section because my mum would have been so scared.
Yeah.
But luckily, my mum wasn't there and I was just with my best friend, And so I had 2 doctors and 4 midwives, like basically blocking the door, saying if I go home, I'm going to die.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And I went, well, I'm going home. I know that you're stressing me out. That's why my blood pressure's high. Yeah. As soon as I get home, my blood pressure will go back to normal. I hadn't had any contractions for about 8 hours at this rate. Yeah. So the whole thing had completely shut down. Again, my cortisol levels were so high, my oxytocin had just completely gone. So anyway, I said that. They went, right, well, you are going to have to sign something. I went, I'm not signing anything. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. If you want to write on my notes that I'm leaving, you can write a note, but I'm going home. Anyway, went home, walked in the porch. My contractions started again. So this was on the Monday night. I was like, right, I've definitely got a while to go now. I know. But do you know what? I know how long I've got. Let's just relax. So I relaxed. Anyway, then it got to Tuesday night. My waters then broke and it all really ramped up. So I thought I'm leaving it as long as possible, My mum was like, right, let's go now. So then got in the car to drive and I was like, no, I'm pushing. So I got back out, called an ambulance, went in the ambulance. And again, the whole thing was good. But this head midwife who was there telling me I was going to die if I went home, I don't think they directly want something to go wrong, but what it is they don't want to be proved wrong. No. So when I then got to hospital, she was doing everything to make it go wrong. She's literally trying to threaten me with the forceps. Bearing in mind, I had a record pushing delivery of 20 minutes. But I tore because I pushed him out too quick. And it was because she's going, if you don't hurry up, I'm getting the forceps. I mean, who wants that when you're in birth? No. Anyway, then when he was born, my son, he was £5'11", which is small, but I'm tiny. She literally... Again, when you're in that, you're not sober. So it's like, I can't even remember what happened after, to be honest, but I was so elated that he was just here. It was only a few weeks later, I was like, I remember being in that room and I was thinking, they took him away from me. And then he ended up in special care for a week.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but again, I believe they caused it.
Yeah, but that's
traumatic. They caused it.
Yeah, all the stress.
Because what happened was they took him off of me. So I had the moment straight after and I had delayed cord clamping and everything. But again, they manipulate you and you're not sober. No. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so then it was only after, like I'm saying, a few weeks later, I thought, no, they took him. He went into shock. 100%. When baby is born, they are used to being inside you. Yeah. They regulate off of you. Yeah. Take them away, everything goes tits up. Yeah. So his oxygen levels were dipping. Like I'm saying, go back then, it's a whole new experience because you're like, this isn't me anymore. This is about someone else. If it had been me, I would have taken him out. But my family, again, were like, you can't take him out of there. You can't go against them, literally, mate. The midwives, the people in the ICU thought I was a nutter. Yeah, that's going to be When they used to come round every day and do the handover at 9 a.m, I'd be up there going, right, so he's on 40% oxygen today. We're going to look at dipping it to 20. Literally, the doctor would go, all right then, well, you've done the handover for me. I'm not going to do it anymore. They didn't like me, though. They kept telling me to go and have a rest. I was like, I'm not leaving my baby. No. And then... because I was breastfeeding, I'd sit with him on me all the time. So then on the Saturday, this was on the Wednesday I'd given birth, on the Saturday, they had the staff swap, the weekend staff. This midwife come over. Not midwives, are they? They're paediatricians or nurses, or paediatric nurses. Yeah. She come over and she went, sorry, what's going on here? And I went, what do you mean? She went, why are you feeding him? I went, because I'm feeding him on demand. She went, we do 3 hourly feeds here. I went, well, he's my son and I'm feeding him on demand. She walked away. She never spoke to me ever again.
I'm not being funny. I think people have got to remember this whole experience. You had just given birth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's mental when you're in there. So I heard some girl go to the doctor. Is it all right if I hold him? I wanted to go. Sorry, you do know it's your baby. It's not their baby. It's your baby. Yeah.
Well, in America, it costs for them to pass you your child.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. To do skin on skin, it actually costs money.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But again, that's all manipulative. They don't want you doing the skin on skin because without the skin on skin, there's more trauma. Anyway, he came out. So then second time round, I was like, no, absolutely not. I am having the baby at home no matter what. So I got to 42 weeks with Delilah. Literally, they're already trying to scare me into the induction and all of this and that and the other. Got to 42 weeks. Well, what are you going to do if you don't go into labour? I'm not going to be pregnant forever, am I?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think? I'm going to be here how you still not had the baby? No,
2 years later.
She's meant to be 2 today, but she's still in there. Do you know what I mean? It's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So anyway, when it got to 42 weeks, they're like literally at this point, they're literally ringing me like the head midwife or matron or whatever. They're going, you do understand your baby is at risk of dying. Every day this goes on, your baby is higher risk of dying. There's absolutely no fact to suit what they say about needing an induction and the placenta failing. From 20 weeks gestation through to 45 weeks and beyond, the rate of stillbirth is 0.04%.
Yeah.
0.04%.
Oh my God.
So where's your rates to tell me that the baby's at high risk of dying? There's no rates.
That's just awful.
So anyway, I blocked them from ringing me.
Yeah, good.
Because I spoke to a birth worker that I was working with, and she went, right, this is a bit rude what I'm going to say now, but she went, look, it's a bit like when a man is going down on you. Every time they stop, it delays you. She went, that's what the midwife is doing to you. She went, that's what the midwife is doing to you.
Yeah.
She's delaying your birth. I went, you're so right. So I blocked them from ringing me. And guess what? 4 days later, she came.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So-
by the time I went into labour, I had the head matron at the birth because I'd literally done everything against them. They tried to send me for about 25 growth scans because she measured small throughout. I measured 4 under. I was like, look, I'm consistently 4 under. She's fine. Guess what? Then obviously, hence when she was then born, she was still small. That was why I got referred to the social services. Well, I'm like, I went to the health visitor. I went, sorry, you can still be here when she's 6 because I think we should have realised by now she's just small.
Yeah.
But again, but I had the most amazing birth with Delilah. I was in and out 5 hours sitting on the sofa with her. The best thing ever.
I love that. But I want to ask a question about that. So with me, I'm very like you, like holistic wise and things like that. Now with birth, I am terrified of pain. I've never had a blood test in my life. Like me and needles is my biggest fear. So I don't know when I do give birth one day, like my boyfriend, he goes into a spiral and he thinks about me actually giving birth because like my pain tolerance is so bad. And I just don't know how I'm going to be. In an ideal world, I'd love to do like a little birthing pool at home, but I just know I'm going to be screaming at everyone, like in agony. How did you do it?
Do you do meditation? Because obviously you manifest.
Yeah.
So you just got to incorporate your meditation. So when I done it, I done all the work the first time round, to be honest with you. And I literally, with my son's labour, 5 days of it, from Saturday through to Wednesday morning, I loved every moment. I breathed it. So what I would do is every time I had a contraction, I would visualise. You have to like send the pain like downwards, and because as you go, you start off breathing, and then by the end you're like it makes you feel like that, doesn't it? But that vibration and sending that low vibration does help to open you up. Again, it's vibrational. Yeah. So what I would do is I would visualise in my head, rather than pain and tensing, I would visualise my uterus and my hips expanding with the pain, and then I turned the pain into more of a stretching sensation.
That's really good.
And it was like like I can feel it now. It's like that, and because I turned it into that, it was a game changer. But I also did have a doula who is wonderful. I love her, and she gave me a fantastic tip. So definitely remember it. Dressing gown called. You can get your partner to do it, hip compresses, but for me, I'd be like, no, get away, mate. I just want to be on my own in this moment. Like, literally, I just wanted to give birth in my own, in the room on my own. Like, birth my baby. You tie it round your hips, and then when you contract, you're in control, then you squeeze the knot. So it squeezes the compression. It halves the pain. So when I got to about 8-9 centimetres first time round, that's when I think I put it on.
How do you know though if you're doing it at home? It's not with a midwife or nothing, is it? You just do it by yourself, don't you?
No, you can have midwives. I had midwives. I literally had the whole of the hospital at my house by this point because it went so quick, and then my mum rang an ambulance because they said if she starts pushing, get an ambulance. So I went, no, I'm definitely pushing. But it was perfect because my mum was so worried. I literally had the whole of the crew in the living room, my mum making them all tea. But my mum was really calm because of that. And then I was on my own with a midwife and my friend in the conservatory, had my incense on, my relaxing music, and it was just so amazing.
That sounds exactly
it was
what
amazing.
I want.
And then I literally birthed my placenta with her still attached to the cord.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because there's like, again, it's a whole nother thing, but like leaving the placenta's got all your baby's blood. By cutting it straight away, You're taking the baby's blood.
We spoke about that recently.
Yeah, we did,
I saw a video and the woman is saying to her, has the placenta gone white? Or I think, was it white? Yeah. And then the midwife's looking at her as if she went, it's okay to cut. And she went, but is it white?
Yeah.
And the midwife went...
The placenta won't go white, but the cord goes white.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then the midwife went, no. And then the woman said, well, can you leave it then, please? And the midwife was fuming. She was livid.
They don't, because it's inconvenient for them. But, I mean, again, it's a whole nother matter, but you know, like when a baby's got a cord around its neck. Again,
that's what happened to me.
But it doesn't matter, because guess what? If it pulls on you, for one, it can't strangle because the cord is alive, it's pulsing, so it can't strangle. Two, how can it strangle you if you're breathing from the cord?
Well,
you're not breathing through your mouth yet.
Yeah,
so it can't block you. It can't block your airways. You're not breathing yet.
They sucked me out. And I had a cone head when I come out. My dad fainted because I was so ugly. So they did that for no reason.
Yeah, because we've been brainwashed into it. And what do? If you come out and you're not breathing, what do? Cut your cord.
Yeah, that's
your cord is your one supply of oxygen.
Yeah.
So if the baby's not breathing on their own yet, why would you cut their oxygen supply off?
Yeah.
Leave the oxygen supply attached until they're breathing on their own. They're not even breathing from their mouths.
See, knowing things like that, when I hear things like that, it just makes me think that pushes me more further away from wanting to give birth in a hospital, because it's like they don't care.
And that's why, for me, I literally train. I'm a very extreme person, so when I'm doing something, I'm doing it 100%. I literally train myself to be a midwife or a doula for my birth, so that no one was telling me what to do. I had all of my own facts.
I think
all my own evidence.
You think?
Yeah, you'll be fine. You just got to breathe it. And also, it's again mind.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, she was like, "No, I've got to have a hospital birth. I want everyone there around me."
I don't
because
want that,
she wanted that.
Yeah.
She had an amazing birth.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't want
mindset.
Yeah, I don't want a hospital birth.
Well, by that time, when you have one, I'll probably be a trained doula, so I'll be at your birth for you.
Yeah.
I am
take the pain off his back.
Yeah, I am going to become a doula because I'm so passionate about it.
I'm definitely
going to
have you there.
People for their birth.
And we'll be talking about this conversation.
No,
I will literally be like screaming.
Put it on the podcast.
Oh, I'm just giving birth today, guys. Can you imagine that? Birth episode.
Yeah. So
I'm going to be like, you effing, swearing my head off.
No, you don't. You just got to stay calm in your zone.
Yeah, that's why I need you there, because otherwise I'd be like Looney Tune.
I had a C-section.
Did you?
Yeah, she was breech, and they was telling me they wanted to turn her.
No.
Themselves, like while she was
they do, and do you know how painful that is?
No, yeah, no.
But again, your baby would have chosen to be breech for a reason. You can birth. I know, like, there's so many people, free birth, home birth with a breech baby.
Yeah, but when they told me about turning her, I just wasn't natural.
Yeah.
Like, I was having panic attacks.
Yeah, of course.
Thinking about, because it could make them really ill.
Because obviously, again, it's like, and the thing is, again, it's like, you have to do what is right for you. All I can do is give you facts.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put my opinion into it. But I am a spiritual person. So I think if your baby is meant to be here, they're going to be here no matter what.
Yeah.
And if they're not going to be here, that is not because of what you've done and decided to give birth at home on your own. Personally, for me, if I had the medical intervention and the baby died, I'd blame them.
Yeah,
I'd think they've killed my baby. Yeah. If I'd done it all naturally and my baby died, I'd think this was meant to be.
Yeah.
But most people are the opposite way round. Like with a vaccine, people would think, oh my God, if I don't vaccinate the baby and the baby dies, it's because I've not vaccinated it. I'd think the opposite.
Same. That's how I think as well.
I'd think the opposite. If I did vaccinate and they died, I'd think, no, you've killed the baby.
I just think 1,000 years ago, not even that, like, you know what I mean? I'm just being over the top. But like when we had our babies back then, we didn't have hospitals. We wasn't vaccinating our babies and things like that. Like, yes, the life expectancy was shorter back then, but I just feel like now...
If giving birth was that dangerous, we'd be extinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would be extinct.
Well, that was like the midwife, the surgeon that was doing the C-section said to me, there is a high... Like, you don't have to go through with it, but just to let you know, if you do, there's a higher chance that they'll be stillborn.
That's what I mean. There's no chance. But if you had the medical evidence on paper, you'd have gone, where's your
Obviously,
facts for that?
I didn't have the facts, so I
there
was
isn't
like,
any. If you look at stats, everything is stats. There's no stats to match that.
Yeah.
I would
was
just say
fine.
Yeah,
she was as healthy as anything.
I would want to
she
say
would
to a
be.
doctor before vaccinating, I'd say, if you can guarantee that my child is not going to have any side effects negatively, is not going to get sick from this, then I will give it to my child. But I don't believe any doctor is going to sign something and
Yeah.
agree that my child will not get sick
Yeah.
or anything like that, because there's always that chance.
Yeah. And also for me, again, everything I believe comes down to like nature and God, or I don't believe in religion, but God, whoever created Earth, we were created as human beings to be here. Everything we need as medicine to heal us has all been put here by God or whoever the creator is. So anything that's man-made, we don't need. Like, I don't believe really we need to use toothpaste to brush our teeth.
Yeah.
Because teeth were put here. Like, we've had teeth for however many millions of years. Toothpaste existed about 50 years. So what do you think they've done before? All their teeth fell out. I don't believe it.
Yeah,
But then
I
there's
don't
other
believe
things
it.
to look down the route of. Actually, everything that we are, everything about us is all programming and program beliefs. Those programmed beliefs come out as manifestations in physical problems. So actually, with dental problems, it relates to the trait of resentment.
Really? Oh, I had awful teeth. I had to get mine done. Does that mean I was resenting
Maybe
everyone?
you was a resentful person.
Yeah.
You're going to have to look into it.
Maybe I was. I'm going to have to do some healing tonight, some like
Maybe.
trauma work.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've literally loved this conversation today. And I feel like we've learnt so much from you. And I feel like a lot of
definitely.
people watching probably feel the same, because you're just full of all the
Yeah.
knowledge.
I just literally have got so much passion in all of it. I
Yeah.
could talk for absolute hours.
I feel like when it's your passion as well, it's like
Yeah.
your second language.
Yeah.
It's just your nature.
That's why I had
definitely
to
learned
start
a
my
lot.
business, because I was just like, this is what I'm here to do. I've been
It's
sent here to
opened
do
my
this.
mind
Yeah.
to a lot.
And
Oh, that's
mine.
good. I'm pleased.
Yeah. Well, it's been lovely having you today, Rosie. It's
thank
been
you.
it's been amazing.
Thank
We've loved
you
having
so
here.
much.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And for everyone who's tuned in today, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, follow us on Spotify and our Instagram as well, Read Between the Signs. And we will see you next week for another episode. Bye.